Mantras of our Divine Mother. Our Divine Mother says the most important is a steady, quiet endurance that does not allow any upsetting or depression to interfere with your progress. The sincerity of the aspiration is the assurance of the victory. With my love and blessings, says our Divine Mother. Words of our Divine Mother, taken from the collective works of our Divine Mother, volume 14, page 29, topic, to choose between the path and the muddle. Our Divine Mother says, in each one's life, a moment comes when he has to choose between the path and the muddle. You cannot put one foot here and one foot there. If you try to, you will be torn to pieces. A heart that does not choose is a heart that will die. Our Divine Mother says, life is a perpetual choice between truth and falsehood, light and darkness, progress and regression, the ascent towards the heights or a fall into the abyss. It is for each one to choose freely. The intellectual attitude comes first. Practice follows little by little. What is very important is to maintain very alert the will to live and to be what one knows to be the truth. Then it is impossible to stop and even more to fall back. The whole world, says our Divine Mother, the whole world is in a process of progressive transformation. If you take up the discipline of yoga, you speed up in yourself the process. Entire physical retirement is seldom healthy, although a temporary retirement is often helpful. But the main thing is the inner detachment and complete turning to the divine. Our Divine Mother says, to be a man, discipline is indispensable. Without discipline, one is only an animal. One begins to be a man only when one aspires to a higher and truer life and when one accepts a discipline of transformation. For this, one must start by mastering one's lower nature and its desires, says our Divine Mother. Next topic, taken from the collective works of our Divine Mother, volume 5, page 263, psychic being and the emanation of the gods. Our Divine Mother says the psychic being is the result of evolution, that is to say, evolution of the divine consciousness which spread into matter and slowly lifted up matter, made it develop to return to the divine. The psychic being was formed by this divine sinner progressively through all the births. There comes a time when it reaches a kind of perfection in its growth and formation. Then, most often, as it has an aspiration for realization, for a greater perfection to manifest yet better the divine, it generally draws towards itself a being from the involution, that is to say, one of those entities belonging to what Sri Aurobindo calls overmind, who comes then to incarnate in this psychic being. Our Divine Mother says it can be one of those entities men generally call gods, some kind of deities. And when this fusion occurs, the psychic being naturally is magnified and shares in the nature of the being incarnated in it. And then it has the power to produce emanations. These beings has the power to produce emanations, that is to say, they project out of themselves a part of themselves which become independent and goes into others to incarnate itself. So there can be not only 2, 3 or 4 or 5 emanations. That depends upon the cases. It can happen thus. That is to say, one can have the same origin, psycho-divine, we might say. And generally, when there are a number of emanations, the different persons feel themselves to be that being, and rightly so, for they carry in themselves something of that Godhead. It is as though a part of the Godhead has cast itself out of itself and become independent in another being. It is not a self-duplication but a kind of self-projection, says our Divine Mother.
पश्यं सनुतश्चरन्तं सुमयूथं न पुरुषोभमानम् नता अतिभ्रन्नजनिष्ठहीशः बलिक्लीरिति युवतयो भवन्ति
Next words of our Divine Mother, taken from the collective works of our Divine Mother, Volume 6, page 161. Topic: The psychic in man makes him exceptional. Our Divine Mother says, it is the presence of the psychic which makes man an exceptional being. I don't like to tell him this very much because already he thinks too much of himself. He has such a high opinion of himself that it is not necessary to encourage him. But still, this is a fact, so much so that There are beings of other domains of the universe, those called by some people gods and demigods, beings, for instance, of which Sri Aurobindo has called them as the overmind, who are eager to take a physical body on earth to have the experience of the psychic, for they don't have it. These beings certainly have many qualities that men don't, but they lack this divine presence which is altogether exceptional and exists on earth and nowhere else. Our Divine Mother says, so I am obliged to state that this is how it is, an exceptional quality of the human being to carry within himself the psychic, and truly speaking, he doesn't take full advantage from it. He doesn't even seem to consider this quality as something very desirable from the way he treats this presence, exactly that. He prefers to it the ideas of his mind, prefers the desire of his vital being and the habits of his physical, says our Divine Mother.
Our infinite gratitude before Thee, who hast done so much for us, who hast worked, struggled, suffered, hoped, endured so much. Before Thee, who hast willed all, attempted all, prepared, achieved all for us. Before Thee, we bow down and implore that we may never forget, even for a moment, all we owe to Thee.
Next words of our Divine Mother, taken from the collective works of our Divine Mother, Volume 14, page 225, topic Face and Overcome Difficulties. Our Divine Mother says, be grateful for all the ordeals. They are the shortest way to the divine. The joy one experiences in living for an ideal is the sure compassionation for all the difficulties of the path. Have faith in your destiny, and your road will be led. For each one and for the whole world, anything becomes useful if it helps to find the divine. Our Divine Mother says, the grace and protection are always with you. When in any inner or outer difficulty or trouble, do not allow it to oppress you. Take refuge with the divine force that protects. If you do that always with faith and sincerity, you will find something opening in you which will always remain calm and peaceful in spite of all superficial disturbances. Our Divine Mother says, those who are sincere, I can help and turn easily towards the divine. But where there is insincerity, I can do very little. And as I have told you already, we have only to be patient and wait for the things to become better. But surely I do not see why you should get disturbed, and in what way your disturbance would help things to be better. You know by experience that there is only one way of getting out of confusion and obscurity. It is to remain very quiet and peaceful, firm in equanimity, and to let the storm pass away. Rise above all these petty quarrels and difficulties. Wake up once more in the light and the power of my love, which never leaves you. All unpleasantness should be faced with the spirit of samatha. It is good to turn a difficulty into an occasion for a new progress. Our Divine Mother says, surely you could not believe that sadhana could be done without facing some difficulties. As far as your aspiration is sincere, whatever was in the subconscious standing in the way of the divine realization has come to the surface in order to be transformed. There is nothing there to make you sad or depressed. On the contrary, you ought to rejoice at these occasions to make progress and never forget to lean for support and help on my love, my force, and blessings. Our Divine Mother says, if you keep your faith unshaken, if you keep your faith unshaken and your heart always open to me, then all difficulties, however great, will contribute to the greater perfection of your being. Try to withdraw from your outward circumstances, which alone can be upset by such things, and find the peace inside, which remains always untouched. Our Divine Mother says, always when one faces difficulties and overcomes them, it begins a new spiritual opening and victory. When you want to make a progress, the difficulty you wish to conquer increases tenfold in importance and intensity in your consciousness. You have only to persevere, that is all. It will pass away. Sadhana, says our Divine Mother, is very difficult, always difficult, and everybody has conflicting elements in his nature, and it is difficult to make the vital give up its ingrained habits. That is no reason for giving up sadhana. One has to keep up the central aspiration, which is always sincere and goes on steadily in spite of temporary failures. And it is then inevitable that the change will come. With my love and blessings, says our Divine Mother.